This is the narrated version of Chapter 22, Serial Crime. Serial crime refers to any series of two or more related crimes. It is not the type of crime that defines the existence of a series, but the inference that the same offender is committing them. Many serial offenders commit crimes of multiple types in the course of a criminal season or career. The following definitions are intended to be investigatively useful. Serial homicide, murder. Two or more cases involving homicidal behavior. Serial arson. Two or more related cases involving fire-setting behavior. Serial bombing. Two or more related cases involving the use of explosives. Serial rape. Two or more related cases involving rape or sexual assault behavior. Serial homicide is defined as two or more related cases involving homicide behavior with a cooling-off period in between. A cooling-off period refers to the psychological component that makes serial murder so horrible to the imagination. It refers to the interval during which the offenders psychologically disconnect, separate, or compartmentalize themselves from the behaviors and motives that led to or accumulated in homicidal behavior and then reintegrate back into their non-criminal lives and activities. Media and serial murder archetype. The use of the term by the media has resulted in mythical serial killer archetypes characterized by deeply reflective intelligence or romantic offenders unfettered by the rules of society. The attention and celebrity are born out of the need to maintain specific yet varied illusions that many in the general public find comforting and entertaining. These images are manufactured by the industry that is in the business of profiting from serial killers. A serial rapist is one who committed two or more related offenses involving rape or sexual assault. Such rapists are successful because law enforcement fails to connect their crimes and or fails to identify and apprehend them before multiple offenses have been committed. Serial rape. Rapist motivation. Rape is an extreme form of behavioral expression that often visualizes and to some degree thinks out before it happens. Four preconditions must exist. Number one, the offender must be motivated to commit the offense. Number two, they must have some strategy for overcoming their internal inhibitions. Number three, they must be able to overcome external constraints and gain access to the victim. Number four, they must be able to overcome the victim's resistance in order to engage the victim in the sexual act. Rapist motivation. All rapists are motivated differently, but their motives may be discussed in general terms. The Baker typology provides seven rapist motivations. Number one, sex and lovemaking. Number two, sex and shoplifting. Number three, uniting. Number four, dividing. Number five, power. Number six, anger. Number seven, sadism. Evaluating serial behavior. To help develop competent investigative strategies for the successful identification and apprehension of a serial offender, in each case the following must be examined. How and why a serial offender selected a particular victim. How and why an offender chooses to leave behind living victims after an attack is concluded. And how and why an offender chooses to leave behind deceased victims in the disposal site. Evaluating serial behavior. Victim target selection. If we can understand how and why a serial offender selects a particular victim or target, then we may also be able to establish the relationship links between the victim and the offender. We also have a better chance of predicting the type of victim that the offender may select in the future. Offender departure strategy. How an offender chooses to leave behind living victims after an attack is concluded gives insight into the motive intent of the offender's offense behavior. It may also reveal information regarding where the offender intends to go after the offense, the offender's personal schedule, how much time the offender needs to get away, how concerned the offender is that the victim might recognize him or her at a later date. Disposal site aspects. How an offender chooses to leave behind deceased victims in the disposal site also gives insight into the motive and intent of the individual's offense behavior. Criminal profilers must try to establish the relation of the victim's body to the disposal site and the evidence that is in it. Types of disposal sites include convenience aspects, remorse aspects, pre-selected aspect, precautionary aspect, stage aspect, and arrange aspect. Solving cases. Criminal profilers and criminal profilers do not typically solve cases. They inform investigative processes and decisions that lead detectives to suspects. Good suspects are most commonly brought to light in a serial investigation via other mechanisms, for example, a confession and identification by a witness to the crime, and the routine stopping of an offender for a minor violation. Using the media. Investigators are charged with the task of giving enough information to the public so that they can be an effective extension of the investigation. However, they must also hold back enough specific information and details to prevent offenders from understanding the investigative efforts and screen copycats and those who would give false confessions. Task force praxis. It is urged that serial task force efforts be made smaller, with more authority, more resources, and with fewer political and bureaucratic burdens. This ends this narrated version of this PowerPoint presentation.